Donald Trump complains about India purchasing oil from Russia.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil, that is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union. Incidentally, we also buy oil from America.
He also complains that India is treating America unfairly and calls India tariff king.
India, which is the tariff king.
He shouts about Harley-Davidson motorcycles and about US companies not getting fair access to Indian markets.
Harley-Davidson in Wisconsin, right? Great. So when they send a motorcycle to India, they have to pay 100% tax, 100%. Now, the Prime Minister, who I think is a fantastic man, called me the other day. He said, we are lowering it to 50%. I said, okay, but so far we're getting nothing. So we get nothing.
But here's the real question. Is Trump being fair, or is he simply pushing America's corporate agenda at cost of Indian farmers, small businesses and consumers? Today, let's uncover why Trump's stand is unfair and why India should resist Trump's stand. Before we move forward, please do consider subscribing to the channel if the subjects of business, finance and economy are of your interest. First, let us understand the numbers. India enjoys a trade surplus with US. For Trump, this is a problem. He believes that America is losing money. But what he doesn't say is, this trade is not one-sided. The US depends heavily on India for IT services, generic medicine, textiles and engineering goods. Indian companies create millions of jobs inside America. Yet, Trump wants India to open markets further, even if it hurts Indian people.
The first thing is, it seems that there is more to the story than Russian imports. And the reason why, because the EU imports significant amount of natural gas and LNG from Russia. No one said anything. Turkey imports significant amount of oil from Russia, and Turkish exports of petroleum products to Europe is higher than that of India, and no one is saying anything about Turkey. The United States imports from Russia in the first 5 months of the year, this year, went up by 23%. No one is saying anything about it. The US still import enriched uranium from Russia. No one is saying anything about it. Today, we have tankers arriving from Venezuela, delivering oil to the United States despite the sanctions. So it seems that there is more to the story than just Russian oil.
I will further explain with examples based on actual business scenarios of past to better explain what actually Trump wants India to do. Take the example of Monsanto. This is America's agro giant which entered India in early parts of 1990s and sold genetically modified cotton seeds in India. The seeds were expensive since Monsanto charged royalty fees over and above the base price of the seeds. To make matters worse, the crops from this seed did not produce new seeds. So farmers have to buy new seeds from Monsanto at beginning of every crop cycle. And to make the matters worse, any bug infection on crops from their seeds can be treated by pesticides sold by this company only. Millions of Indian farmers were trapped, higher input cost, rising debt, and in many regions, farmer suicides became a tragic reality, with close to about 3 lakh farmers committing suicides. In 2016, India's government finally stepped in and capped the pricing of cotton seeds to protect farmers' interests. And what did Monsanto do? It sued Indian government and lobbied hard in Washington. The Trump administration openly pressured India to roll back these controls. Now think of it. Should Indian government let foreign corporations to decide the fate of 9 crore farmers in India? Or should it stand firm to protect its people? The answer is obvious. Now let's talk about Harley-Davidson.
Harley-Davidson.
Trump's favorite example that he uses quite often in his speeches, election rallies, and media interviews quite often. He was angry that India charged over 100% duty on luxury motorcycles. Even after India cut it to 50%, Trump wasn't satisfied, since he did not have much to shout around amongst his vote bank to highlight his performance.
Harley-Davidson in Wisconsin, right? Great. So when they send a motorcycle to India, they have to pay 100% tax, 100%. The Prime Minister, who I think is a fantastic man, called me the other day. He said, we are lowering it to 50%. I said, okay, but so far we're getting nothing. So we get nothing, he gets 50, and they think we're doing, like they're doing us a favor. That's not a favor.
But here's the fact. Harley sells very few bikes in India, barely a couple of thousands every year. Now compare this to affordable motorcycles sold by Hero, Suzuki, Bajaj and Honda. Indian consumers do not buy $20,000 worth of Harleys. They need reliable, fuel-efficient bikes for their daily commuting and work. Now let me take you through some facts on the import duties on these big bikes. Before 2018, 100% duty on completely built Harley-Davidson motorcycles. After Trump's repeated complaints, India reduced it to 50% duty in 2018. Now let us see how much revenue did India earn out of all this. Harley-Davidson sales in India were very small. Peak sales were about 4,600 bikes in 2014. By 2019-20, sales had dropped to about 2,500 bikes annually. Even if we take 3,000 bikes at an average price of 12 lakh rupees, the average price would be 360 crore rupees or $50 million of import value per year. At 50% duty, government revenue is 180 crores or $25 million. At 100% duty, the revenue would have been double, which is 360 crores or $50 million. So government of India has earned only a few hundred crores annually in the customs duties on Harleys. So why should India bend its rule for a luxury brand that serves only an elite few while threatening the business model of Indian companies that employ lakhs of people, serves crores of Indians and carry Indian flag through exports to Africa, Middle East and many other countries? In fact, Harley couldn't survive in India since there was no demand and eventually they had to shut shop in 2020. So what do these examples tell us? Trump is not fighting for fairness. He is fighting for American corporate interests. Monsanto wanted to extract unjustified profits from Indian farmers. Harley wanted to sell their luxury bikes in a market which did not want their product. India, on the other hand, has to protect over 950 million or 9.5 crore farmers who form backbone of our economy and culture. Over 15 million small shopkeepers and retailers who employ about 40 million Indians who would simply collapse if this US retail giants dominated fully. The affordable healthcare, which depends on India's ability to produce low-cost generic medicine, something US pharma giants hate. And most importantly, India's strategic autonomy, the ability to take decisions that benefit Indians and not foreign lobbies. So next time when you hear Trump shouting that India is unfair, remember what he calls unfair is actually India protecting its farmers, its workers, and its sovereignty. America has every right to fight for its interests, but India must fight harder for its own. Now I will leave you with this question. Should India compromise with Trump's demands for short-term peace, or should it continue to protect its people, even if it means clashing with world's biggest superpower? Think about it and do share your views in the comments. Hopefully you would have subscribed to the channel by now. And if you have liked the content of this video, do not forget to share with others. Be inspired, keep building.